introducing the new round, the latest round for our monthly animation challenge. This month's animation challenge is slightly different in a way that it's for a very specific format. But okay, let me sort of talk about it. This month's challenge is to create an animated music album cover, right? So the music album can be a fictional album, or or it could just be for a track. The idea is to build a little bit of a story, and the limitations for this are that firstly, you'll have to use licensed music only. So everyone here in the team has access to this thing. So just please use the licensing. And if anyone's participating from outside, just make sure that you're not sending copyrighted music that can be flagged, or just make sure to use royalty-free music, or you have permissions for licensing for use of that music. The other restrictions and limitations basically are that the duration has to be one bar. What does that mean? Like in audio terminology, it's basically like you could say like 4 beats. If it's that basic group of initial notes that get repeated throughout, where it's, of course, there are exceptions to different songs that don't follow these patterns, but again, mostly looking for a 1 bar worth of visuals that loops seamlessly and transitions on, like the sample itself should be 3 to 8 seconds long, depending on how fast or how slow your beats are. But yeah, when we showcase it, we'll perhaps put it with the entire track and just see how it loops. The inspiration, or actually not the inspiration, the use case of this, where I see this being used a lot, is something like Spotify Canvas. Now, we made that old video for Flyboy that was used as a Spotify Canvas thing, but let me introduce Spotify Canvas to those of you who don't know about it. It's basically, if you're using Spotify, you, as an artist, you have an option to set a background video that plays when when your track is playing or when your album is playing. Now, this video you could apply different concepts to it, different ways of animation. Like, these are some examples. Typically, some of these in different styles. Like this one's like a claymation. There's things done with video. There's things done with compositing. But the idea becomes that, okay, this visual is going to not just represent that 1 bar duration, but you have to, it should be potent enough that if it's playing throughout the track, it feels that, it has that power in its message. So I'll put these links in this thing, but you can see different examples of how they've implemented it for different use cases on Spotify itself. And fundamentally, it's, even whether it's Spotify or it's Instagram, the logic of it remains the same, where it's a loop that goes on as basically this kind of an audio visualizer. But again, now we have this canvas space to play with in a very interesting way. And I'll run you through those once we see these examples. So these are some of the more, some are very simple, some are more complex, like when you go into things like video. Again, I'll link this page. You'll see a variety of examples, and you'll see how they're trying to build a mini story within this entire thing. So in terms of the specifications, I think the specification page for this is actually perfect for this challenge, where now you have to design it keeping in mind the safe area. Right now, the safe area with a 9:16 resolution. Also, when you put something like this on Spotify, there'll be an overlay for music controls. There'll be overlay for top. Instagram's very similar in the same way, where at the bottom part of the visual, you've got a lot of text that, like you've got your channel handle and the description and that kind of information, right? So this structure itself, again, we'll putting links in the comments, where you'll get to understand that how you want to structure the final visual piece that gets created. I think this is basically this should, I think, basically cover it. This becomes the brief for it. Now, think of which genre you want to choose when you choose a track. Think of, like, again, these can be showcases for perhaps, the kind of music genre that you're into, and then you perhaps want to make something like this as an audio visualizer. I think it's a very interesting opportunity, excuse me, to showcase, various storytelling in this styles in this format. What else? There is, right, the prizes remain the same as last month, where the winner gets a total prize of gifts and goodies worth rupees 10,000, and the runner-up gets gifts and goodies worth rupees 5,000. We are hoping for more participation from a lot of people outside the studio as well this time. Last time's response was great. Hoping to build see more entries this time. I think that covers the summary of this month's challenge. If anyone has any questions, I'd love to sort of clarify if there's any doubts. I'll showcase.
I think clearly.
Right. So see these examples, see what inspiration you get, and give it a shot. Let's see how it comes out. I think this is going to be an interesting one to start.
When you say licensed music, do you mean like copyright-free music, or let's say if I have a license of some music, can I use that, or is it copyright-free music?
Yeah, you can. You would.
Domain.
Yeah, you just need to ensure that the content that you're using, you have permission to use it on the platforms there where it will be showcased, which is basically Instagram, YouTube, on our websites. You just have to make sure that all those permissions are there and in place before you use that track, right?
I think what Sachin is saying, I know that confusion. Like, even like if I have a music track which I bought for some artist, can I use that or not?
What from the artist? How? Like if you're buying
Like any music, like if you buy from iTunes or if you buy
the license that you get when you buy a track from iTunes is just to listen to it. You can't use it in a visual. You can't use it. I mean, that's
the confusion I wanted to clear.
No, so you can't use any track. You can't go to YouTube, type your favorite artist. I think the smarter approach would be to figure out which top music site you want to use, something like a Premium Beat, an Epidemic Sound, or something like an Envato, and find the track that fits the genre you want and then build on that, rather than taking any track off the internet and animating to that. Just treat this as like any other piece of original content, which would require its own licensing. Right? Yeah, I think that covers it. Reach out if you have any questions. We'll give contact details in the links. And let's go. Excited for this. I hope a lot of people participate and बहुत एंट्री आएंगी और बहुत मजा आएगा और ऐसे करोड़ों लोग पार्टिसिपेट करेंगे. क्रेजी हो जाएगा ये सब. Let's go.